Research Roundtable, Discussions with New Researchers, Episode 4. Research Roundtable is a segmented overview of issues faced by new researchers from their own perspective.
This is Dave Donnelly providing a brief rationale of my projected dissertation topic, which is on technology preparedness in teacher education programs. The issue of technology preparedness in teacher education programs is important because technology fluency is a key skill for all teachers. Teacher preparation must include some sort of tech fluency and training. However, there are virtually zero standards for tech preparedness in teacher preparation programs, and the question is, how much preparation is enough? In looking at the literature surrounding tech preparation in teacher prep programs, I have found that there is a moderate amount of literature on standardizing teacher preparation, but there's very little literature specific to technology preparation for teachers. There are very few standards. There is very little research into this area. In order to understand the problems with tech preparation in teacher prep programs, it's important to look at the technology standards and frameworks that exist. One of the problems with these frameworks is that there is a general lack of standardization in teacher education in general. There are no national teacher prep standards, despite our profession being akin to others that do, such as lawyers and doctors. Teaching in the 21st century requires complex skills for which teachers are not being prepared. Professional development has been proved to be mildly ineffective, especially in addressing complex issues such as tech fluency, and lessons learned from successful prep programs are not being leveraged and foiled back into programs to improve them. The second problem with this issue is that technology frameworks are lacking. There are simply too many. The field of studying technology frameworks, educational technology, instructional technology is very vast, and there is a lot of research going on in a lot of different places on a lot of different subjects, but there is not a lot of agreement in this area. There's very little research into measuring the efficacy of technology frameworks, especially as they deal with education and teacher prep. I did look at a single study that evaluated a lot of these technology integration models, especially for student teachers, and the criteria that they chose were clarity, compatibility, fruitfulness, technology and the role of technology in the framework, the scope, and the focus on students. And they found that a lot of the existing frameworks are simply not effective based on these standards. The overarching problem here is that tech integration in teacher preparation is currently inadequate. Graduates of teacher programs still feel underprepared to integrate technology into their classrooms. It's very difficult to measure technology integration, and there's very little research that actually tackles this issue. And technology courses are sometimes entirely eliminated from programs and infused into other courses. So the question with that becomes, if you're infusing technology into other courses, what is being lost in those courses in order to fit the technology in, and will it truly be addressed? The research questions for my projected study are: how well is our teacher education program at Patton College preparing teacher candidates to use technology in their classrooms? How is technology fluency truly defined, and how specific must it be in this context? How do teacher candidates perceive the teacher prep program's ability to prepare them for technology use in the classroom? And how are teacher preparation technology interventions actually being implemented into classrooms? This is Dave Donnelly providing a brief overview of my projected dissertation topic. Thank you.
Hello, this is Doug Bowie, and this is my segment for Research Roundtable, Validity in Research. Part of this is I want to do a little overview of validity as a concept, and then I wanted to talk about it as validity as it related to my research and what I've done and sort of the struggles I've had with how can I work through my research design for my dissertation to make it, more reliable, more valid. As I learn about these concepts, how do I apply them to the dissertation research and any research that I'll be doing from here forward? So validity in research is this concept that whatever I'm attempting to measure with my instrument actually is measuring the thing I'm asking about. So if I really want to know the speed of cars, is the speedometer accurate in how it's measuring, and the data that it's generating, is the data valid? The instrument's just the instrument, right? It's gonna do whatever it does, and the data that comes out is either valid or not. And assessing whether or not it's valid and what that means is sort of part of this overarching discussion. By saying it's, valid, we get this sense that it's going to measure and do what I want it to do. So, how is it different than reliability? Reliability might be the idea that I'm going to get the same thing every time I do it. If somebody else goes and does my research, follows the same procedure that I used, they should get reliable data. It should do the same thing each time. It may not be valid data. The process may generate data that's invalid, but the reliability may be there, even though the validity is not. And Samuel Messick, in some of his seminal work, gives this quote of, "Validity is an overall evaluative judgment of the degree to which empirical evidence and theoretical rationale support the adequacy and appropriateness of the interpretations and actions on basis of test scores and other modes of assessment. Validity is not a property of the test or assessment as such, but rather the meaning of the test scores." So it's about the data we generate, not the process we do. The process is part of it, but validity is all about the data. All right. Messick goes on to talk about his 6 types of construct validity, which I've listed here with a very short discussion of what it means. And the primary reason I list it is that when we begin to assess each one individually, you can say, yes, it has this type of construct validity or that type of construct validity. But oftentimes the relationships between the different types of construct validity are more meaningful. If I can use 2 or 3 of them and together I have content and structural and external validity, all of a sudden we're talking about something a little different. It's not just 3 things, it's one thing. And again, Messick comes forward in his seminal work and talks about this unified validity being the appropriateness, meaningfulness, and usefulness of score-based inferences that are inseparable. That the integrating power derives from empirically grounded score interpretation, which is basically using several different types of construct validity together, provides more validity for that data. The data is stronger together than separate. Multiple types of validation that corroborate each other. The data provides corroboration is stronger than individual. What does this mean for me? For me, this turns around and means, well, what kind of research do I want to do? Do I want to do qualitative, quantitative? It turns out that I want to do both. By allowing the perspectives of both aspects of quantitative and qualitative, and then, working through the validity issues that go with that, we can generate data from multiple perspectives that will corroborate each other in driving me toward understanding of my research questions. Thank you for your time. Research Roundtable would like to thank you for watching our 4th episode.